1 minute early. How about that? Oh, it just turned. I was like a second early. How are you doing, Kittanning? Good to have you guys tonight. Hopefully, you're having a wonderful weekend. And I know we're almost done with it, but got some Steelers football on the TV. The defense is looking pretty good. Um, but yeah, just wanted to have a little conversation. More of a, I don't know, philosophical conversation tonight, but we'll see where we end up. We'll see who all shows up tonight with the game. I never know. Sometimes we end up with more people with something like that. Sometimes it's like many, many less. So we'll see who ends up here tonight. Pull up the comments, and then we'll get right into it. But I hope you're all doing well. Let's see here. Good there. Okay, big dog bro. First one in the house tonight. Kevin is second, as usual. um, but yeah, what are you guys up to? How was your day today? We had a good weekend. It was busy, busy. All the way from Friday night. We had a nice bonfire at a friend's house with the whole family after soccer practice. And then yesterday, I was in Greenville. I had the opportunity to go to a conference for our church denomination, and I got to speak at it as well. So it was pretty fun. And then yesterday afternoon, it was beautiful after all the rain. So I got to mow my lawn yesterday and today for like hopefully the last time of the year. With the frost this morning, I'm assuming the grass will slow down significantly. Um, and then we'll have to start clearing out gardens. The community garden's going to need to be cleared out. I don't know if it frosted hard in Kittanning like it did at my house, but all my tomato plants are dead overnight. All of my zucchinis and stuff are dead overnight. So, but there's a lot of stuff in the garden, community garden, I guess, that will survive, like the kale, and Kevin found Brussels sprouts today. We thought we had collard greens, but it was actually Brussels sprouts the entire time, and so yeah, that was fun, a fun find today. So I'm hoping to try some Brussels sprouts. I've never actually had fresh Brussels sprouts before, so I'm pretty excited about that. Let's see. Krista's here. Good to have you, Krista. She says, "Welcome, high school graduates." Let's see here. Kevin says a lot of the plants still look good, so maybe it didn't freeze as hard in town. At our house, it was like it wasn't just a like sometimes there's just a little frost. I mean, today it was like thick, thick frost. Big Dog says, put dirt around the sidewalks, picked up the neighbor, he fell in the alley. How did that happen? Your alley's actually flat now. Hopefully it's going to get paved tomorrow. I'm hoping they'll finish all those projects real quick. Let's see. Meatloaf says, dead overnight, just like my grades. Still got to do have you not been working on your stuff, Krista? Got to figure that out. Kevin says, in town, it's warmer. With everyone using lighters, we have our own little climate change. It's actually, I think it's a combination of two things. You got well, no, it's just mostly just one thing. You have the river is the difference maker. So anytime you're closer to water, it's going to be a little bit warmer. Water, actually, when you go deep enough, this is like fun fact for the day. It's the same temperature year round, and so like the bottom of the river, the bottom of the Allegheny River, should be almost the exact same temperature the whole year around. So when you're closer to the water in the winter time, it actually warms the land, and in the summertime, it cools the land, which is probably why everyone wants to live next to water. But Meatloaf says, I have my first scheduled test for Spanish soon, and I haven't started the work at all. Well, that's not good. Yeah, Spanish. I could maybe pass a Spanish test. My vocabulary is not very good, but my conversational Spanish, I can actually have them for the most part. I can have a conversation in Spanish. So, oh, fell off a cement slab taking the garbage out. Okay, that makes more sense. So they had graded it down, and he didn't. He forgot about it, or it was dark when he did it, or something. That's not good, though. I hope he's okay. Not too many people here tonight. Normally, if I'm on time, we're good to go, but maybe not. Maybe I should do the whole Facebook thing. Haven't done that in a while. See if we can get a couple of other people. Bear with me here. What's going on, phone? All right. Let's try it. I've considered just going to Facebook Live in general. Would you guys still show up if we did this on Facebook Live instead of YouTube? I was just thinking, maybe people would be more apt to show up. Maybe not. I don't know. It doesn't really matter, I guess. How's it going, Facebook? I just want to let you know we are live over on the YouTube channel tonight, so you can hop on over there, join us on our Sunday night live at 9 o'clock. We also are always just trying to get as many people in there as possible to have a good conversation. And tonight we're talking about solving Kittanning's problems as we normally do. So if you want to come and join us during the Steeler game, or if you're just not into the Steelers and you're looking for something else to connect with, come over and connect with us on YouTube. Just look up Andrew Ladisaw on YouTube, and it should be the first thing that pops up on the channel. Have a good night. Talk to you soon. All right, cool. So, Big Dog Bro says, is at 1:30 in the afternoon. Well, he definitely should have seen at that point, I would think. Kevin said they all assumed you would be there late. So they'll be here shortly. That's probably true, Kevin. Probably true. Kelly's in the house. Good to have you, Kelly. Kevin says he will take your Spanish test and identify as a teenage girl, a very angst teenage girl. Oh, gosh. Big Dog Bro says, I heard him hollering when I was out front. He hurt his shoulder. Oh, my goodness. It's not good at all. Did he have, I'm assuming he had to go to the hospital or something? Kelly says, I identify as a 80-year-old brittle woman with tons of arthritis, trapped in a teenage girl's body. Yeah. Meatloaf says, say, and I oop. And I oop. I'm sure you want it in a high-pitched, voice, but I don't know if I can pull it off. Kevin's on the same page as you, though, with us. Wow. Y'all are into it. So anyway, you guys, what struck me is where the church in general, it's just been wonderful. It's been a wonderful time for me personally. I just feel so just stupidly blessed, and I've always known this to be true, but we've never had this conversation on this channel, and I'm just thinking, there's no other solution to our problems than solutions that come from God. There's just not. I don't see any problem that cannot be solved in our community with just living your life the way that God says to live it. And so I'm just like, this is the solution to all of our problems, and that's kind of like underlying on this channel of all the things that we do, but it's not like front and center. We've never actually had that conversation. So I thought it'd be interesting for us tonight to kind of maybe take a look at that and just kind of talk about, these four major problems that we talk about. We talk about blight. We talk about the problem of addiction. We talk about filling up our downtown businesses, and then we talk about making our local government more effective and efficient. And so those are like the four big problems, and obviously we're driving towards Kittanning 300. And I just think more and more that I cannot envision any problem that just cannot be solved by living your life God's way, seeking out God's solution to the problem. Like it, that's where my mind goes every time. I just don't see anyone else. There's no other place solving these issues without biblical principles. Like even in places where the addiction problem is being solved, it's always like compassion is the lead move, and that's like straight out of the Bible. That kind of stuff is absolutely amazing to me. That even from like a secular perspective, people that aren't Christians or aren't believers, they still end up using biblical solutions to solve problems. And so I don't know, maybe I just wanted to, kind of have that conversation. Or what do you guys think about that? And then how do we actually put that into practice on a grander scale in our city? How do we move the ball forward faster than we have? And I don't get me wrong, there's so much momentum right now. Things seem to be moving in such a positive direction so quickly that I can't even keep up with it all. I can't even document it. And so and things in my life are just falling into place so quickly. It's difficult for me to even make videos because there's so many like blessings in my life right now. I can't even, like I said, I can't keep up with it. And so I don't know, how do you guys feel, and how do we implement that on a grander scale in the greatest city in the world? So that's my question to you, or maybe you guys can just make some comments to continue this conversation, and we'll see what we come up with. Let's see here. All right, I'm off the Visco girl conversation, just so you guys know. Tim says, sounds like everyone's in a good mood tonight. I am in a fantastic mood, Tim, and I'm even better now that you're here. And so, good to have you, my friend. Kevin says, we have to be fearless. Although most of us say we are not afraid to say we are Christians, how open to everyone are we? I need a giant cross flag on my bicycle. I need to hand out Bibles to strangers. Um, yeah, I agree with you. I don't know if the flag and the Bibles are going to help you at all. Um, the genuine spirit-led conversation, though, I think is the key for me. Like that's what I'm missing. Like I'm not afraid to go hand out tracts or to like hand out Bibles, that kind of stuff, but it's the conversation and being led by the Spirit. We talked about today the woman at the well, and Jesus. I mean, he had that down. He knew the question to ask. He knew the problem behind it. He had words of knowledge. He had words of wisdom. He had all of the things that were required in that situation. He had, and turned that conversation perfectly for God's glory. But I do believe you're right, Kevin, that we need to be more bold in our action, bold in being led by the Holy Spirit. Kevin says, we are not nearly active enough as Christians. Oh, yeah, okay. Yes, I did read that already. Kelly says, get a box of mini Bibles and hand them out for Halloween. Kelly, I don't like, that's not a terrible idea, but I don't think we'd make any friends doing that. Lori says, "Hi all, good to have you, Lori. Great to see you tonight. Missed you in church today, but I do have you on the schedule for the coming week, so you should be getting email notifications. So keep a lookout for that, and also we can try to coordinate so." Yeah, so that it'll work out on times that you're going to be there. So just let me know if the times that I scheduled you for will actually work. Big Dog Bro says, know your Bible and the scriptures. Yes, I do think that is absolutely essential. We're not spending enough time as Christians seeking God's direction, and so we have to do that part first, right? We have to be ready. You know, the disciples didn't go out until the Holy Spirit came in Acts chapter 2, and then everything was like set on fire and changed. And so, yeah, we have to do that part for sure. Meatloaf says, Halloween is great because I can scare little kids without it being considered cruel. That is cruel. It's still cruel. Kevin says, but I mean, society stops us from doing a lot of things we need to do, like you going to local bars and talking with people there, not drinking, just talking over wings and pool. Yeah. You had me at wings and pool. I mean, I would love to do that kind of stuff. Melissa's in the house. Good to have you, Melissa. Kevin says, society would judge us or hurt us for doing God's work, so we shy from it and consider it reasonable to do so. And yeah, I mean, if you guys haven't looked up that movie yet, you need to look this up on YouTube, no matter who you are. Look up Sheep Among Wolves, Volume 2 on YouTube. It's like a 2-hour-long movie. It is absolutely incredible what is happening in the nation of Iran right now. There is a movement, a gospel-centered movement, a church planting movement of house churches being primarily led by women who are probably the most persecuted people group in Iran. And so it's pretty wild, and the stories in there are absolutely astonishing. So I would just definitely check that out. But I think, Kevin, we look at, are we going to get hurt for doing this? And that, like, these women, they know that at any moment they could be outed as a Christian, which would mean it would be legal for them to be raped in their society and used as slaves at that point, or killed. And they know that is a very, very legitimate possibility every single day. And they're not afraid. They are not afraid. It's, yeah, I don't, it's not a valid excuse for us. And I know that you're not saying that it is an excuse, but I do understand where you're coming from. But it's not a valid excuse. Lori says, sorry, busy fixing house, and yes, got the email. Okay, good. Yeah, I know you're fixing houses. We understand. We love you just the same. But I just say we missed you. That doesn't mean anything negative towards you. We just missed you. Kelly says, trick or treat. We tricking the devil that night and passing on his enemies' gifts. Love it. Let's see here. Tim says, I need a Bible on tape. I fall asleep after the first page when I try to read a book. Tim, if you have a smartphone, download the Bible app. It's the YouVersion Bible app. It looks like this. And it pulls up, and right there, then you hit read. Let me just show you. And then when you're on there, there's a little speaker on the top. Hit the speaker. Maybe.
Chapter 61. Good news for the oppressed.
And it's reading the Bible.
The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is upon me.
So you don't even need it on tape. Every single version, there's 10 versions with audio versions of them. So you can look up whatever one you want, download it, and you are good to go. Let's see here. Kevin says, exactly. We need to be as fearless as those women. Totally agree. Kevin says, I mean, more than anyone. Lately, I just humble along and have been doing my own thing. And I do think there's a place for that too, Kevin. I mean, I know, when we read the Bible, it's like we get all the highlights, right? There's still some like normal life stuff that has to happen. I'm still gonna have to go to work to make money to pay the bills. Like that's not gonna change. But it's in that process for me to be led by God in everyday life. There has to be more than what we're presently doing. There has to be more than what we're presently experiencing. And if we've done however much of our work in like a fleshly way and not including God in it, how much faster will it go? And now I'm not saying that God hasn't been in what we've done, because there's definitely been extraordinary blessing, extraordinary prayer, tons of planning in prayer time. And so I don't discount any of that at all. But I think when we can scale it up, when it's more than just a smaller group of people, man, it will go like wildfire. Let's see here. Lori says, love the U version, has all of the versions. I like the NIV personally. Yeah, I like to read the ESV is like what I preach from, but nothing is perfect. The NIV is fine. The NLT is, I really enjoy reading the NLT just because of the way that it flows. It speaks to me, and I like if I'm not studying, I'm just reading. I love to read the NLT. Melissa said, "I never knew that app did that. I was actually reading it. Yeah, it's pretty wild. And so what's really nice is if you're doing the dishes, or like when I'm mowing the lawn, a lot of times I'll put my headphones in and listen to The Economist, and I'll listen to the Bible, or I'll listen to sermons, all that kind of stuff, and it just opens up everything to you. So you can just you can be brushing your teeth in the morning, and by the time you're done brushing your teeth, you probably read a chapter of the Bible if you're listening to it. Or if you have a 15-minute drive to work or something, you turn that on, you've read, probably 3 or 4 chapters by the time you get to work, and you can read 3 or 4 more chapters on your way home. And so it's pretty great. Let's see. Yeah, Kevin also. Kevin says, "I got you covered if you need to hear Job." Yeah, Kevin recorded himself with the Book of Job, and it's really, really good. And it's actually better than U version because it gets the you get the different tones and personalities. You get different voices for every character that enters in, and so it's pretty great. Melissa says, "Well, Andy, I'm technology stupid, so there's that." I mean, it's literally one more button, Melissa. Just hit the speaker button and you're good to go. Lori says, "When I do my class, I highlight everything I have to look up. Um, love it. Soon it will all be highlighted." Yeah, I could totally see that happening. That's actually why I don't write in my Bible, but I do highlight the U version as I read it, and there's some chapters that it's like the whole thing's highlighted, and so I just had to start highlighting it in different colors for different things, and then each time I read through, I'll highlight in a different color as well. So there's like different shades of yellow will be, different times that I read through it. So I can kind of see, well, that was 2 times ago that I read that chapter, or that was last time I read it. So yeah, me too, me too. Yeah, I think I'll stay on for just a few more minutes, but and I'm not gonna go as long as last week when we were doing the zucchini. Uh, but it's been nice. There's no more food to process. Although I think I'm still gonna have. I got a cool relish recipe from a friend, so I'm gonna try that out. We have all the ingredients at the community garden, so I'm gonna go raid the community garden. I think for some green tomatoes and some green peppers, and try to make homemade relish. It sounds pretty good. I'm not a pickle person, but there's no actual cucumbers in it. There is some vinegar, but I'm gonna give it a go. See if I can find something that I like that's kind of like pickles, that can make me like work into liking pickles. I desperately want to like pickles, but I just don't. Yeah. Lori says, I made my own dill pickles this year. Awesome and crisp. You must have did a good job to get them crisp. I hear that's difficult when you're making them at home. Let's see. Look, making stuffed peppers. Yeah, I love stuffed peppers. Yeah. I actually, stuffed peppers, to my knowledge, aren't really a thing in Minnesota, so I never ate that until I moved to Pennsylvania. It was like the first time I was introduced to all these things, all these Pittsburgh foods. Like, I can remember the first time I had a chipped ham sandwich, like a chipped ham barbecue. It was such an experience for me. And then the first time I ate at Sheets, and I got two chili dogs with ketchup and hot pepper cheese, and I can like, isn't that funny? Like that was like 15 years ago, and I can still remember like exactly what I got, and that was like my order forever. That and a schmegel. I used to get a schmegel with ham and pepper jack on a cinnamon raisin bagel, toasted. So good. Um, yeah. Tim says, I love fried green tomatoes, but my wife doesn't, so we don't have them. Well, you could still make them, Tim. Come on now. Kevin says, Melissa, seems you are not as weird as I thought if you like stuffed peppers and cabbage. We finally found a food that Melissa likes. Lori says, stuffed pepper soup is awesome, and cabbage and ham. My daughter Hopi always asks for me to make it. Yes. Stuffed pepper soup, like Sharon Cogley, is like, if you ever have the opportunity to eat her stuffed pepper soup, it is top notch. Udon noodles and fried cabbage. Is that the noodles you gave me, Kevin? Is that what they were called? They were good. Although I would like to have them with a lot of vegetables. It would be better for me than just the noodles. The noodles were fine, but I need like more with it than what we had. But as far as taste tests, I'm glad you let me try it. Lori says I grew green tomatoes this year. I got a whole batch of red, and I was able to make a lot of tomato jam, which is like my favorite thing now. One of my favorite like condiments. So that was really great. I got just enough red ones to do that, and red cherry tomatoes. They're called rosellas. They're like a purple tomato, and they get like purple, and then they have like a dark green when they're ripe, and they are just so sweet and so good. And the tomato jam that you make, like the sweetness really comes through, and so I don't have to use much sugar at all when I make it. And it's so good on like fried rice and chicken, and like it's good. Man, the Steelers are just crushing the Chargers, 21-0 in San Diego. The stadium's like full of Steeler fans. There's like no San Diego fans there, I don't think. And San Diego just missed a field goal. 21-0 going into halftime. Crazy. Meatloaf. That's my son JJ's favorite. Yeah, we just had meatloaf last week. Still one of my favorites. And my oldest daughter Abby's been very picky normally, but she had meatloaf with the ketchup on it for the first time and loved it. And then tonight I made her an over easy egg, and she loved that, which has never happened before. She ate the whole egg and then wanted more after she ate a whole sandwich, and like it was crazy. They ate a whole pound of bacon tonight too. Monsters. Let's see here. Ham. Oh yeah, ham, cabbage, and potatoes. That's good too. Tim says lost the tomato plants after the hailstorms this year. Oh, I remember when you said that. Can't find green tomatoes in the stores. That's true. If you were back here, Tim, you could just pop over to the community garden and pick up literally, you could probably get a bushel of green tomatoes out of there right now. Let's see. Tomato, yeah, tomato jam is good, Kev. Let's see. Krista says, "Mother, the father brought to see Jesus today." Krista, you do have to be like a little bit nicer to your mother here. Lori says, "Never had tomato jam. I need some of that." Lori, I might just have enough extra for you. I'll try to bring you like a little container of it next time. Next time you're gonna be at church, let me know beforehand, and I'll bring you like a little container of it to take home, and you can try it, and then I'll send you the recipe if you like it. Let's see here. Oh, I'm gonna say it again. Meatloaf is meat cake. It's pretty. It's. I mean, you're right. You're right. And ketchup is the only acceptable frosting. Well, no, that's not true. Barbecue sauce is pretty good too. And tomato jam actually would be fantastic on there, but that's probably a little too spicy for my kids. Ooh, 27th is a good day to come, Lori. Baptism day that day as well. So, very exciting day. Kevin says, I kind of like the mother daughter conflict. It's interesting. It's like free cable. Tim says, I have an aunt and uncle from California visiting our family in Kittanning this week. We're all from Kittanning. That is so cool. Coming from California. We just had another family move in from New Jersey a little while back and to Kittanning and moved back from, they used to be from here. And the husband brought his wife back and now they're part of our church. And I'm just like so stinking excited about that. It's really great. All right, guys. I'm going to head out. It's been really fun. Be thinking about that, though, what we talked about tonight, the solution to all of our problems. I believe wholeheartedly that, you know, that Jesus, living your life God's way, is the way to change the city. And how do we scale that? How do we do a better job at that than we have previously? Because I think if we're looking to throw some gas on the fire and making Kittanning an even better city than it already is, that gas is going to be found in obedience to the Word of God and following the leading of the Holy Spirit. So just chew on that for a little bit and pray about that. And very much looking forward to next Sunday night. I'll also have the commissioner interview. Hopefully, I don't know if it's going to make it for tomorrow, but I'm hoping for Tuesday at the latest. It's a real bear to edit. It's almost 2 hours long, so I'm gonna try to break it up into parts and post it on Facebook in pieces. But I'll put the whole thing on the podcast and on the YouTube channel here. But that's it for today, guys. I love you all very much. Hope you have a wonderful night, and we will see you in the next one.